Last year, radio presenter Tom Elliott spoke to Australian Palestine Advocacy Network President Nasser Mashni about the Gaza solidarity protests and asked this question as the interview drew to a close.
There was a Sydney Islamic leader, and his name escapes me at the moment. He describes Jewish people as the descendants of pigs and monkeys. Do you believe that?
Literally out of left field. Now, the person Mr. Elliott was talking about, and there's no reason why you or even Mr. Mashni would know who it is this bloke, Wissam Haddad. He runs a community center in Bankstown, and every week reportedly gives sermons to about 40 people in this room, during which he said some pretty racist things which do not deserve repeating. The thing is, in the context of Islam, Wissam Haddad is a nobody. He's not an official imam of any mosque. He isn't a mufti. He has no recognized relationship with organized Islam in Australia. He is to Muslims what Brian Houston was to Christians in Australia, except that Brian Houston's congregation was 1,000 times larger and included the Prime Minister himself. Now, the sermon was posted online, but it's safe to say that hardly anyone would have known of its existence but for the fact that Peter Wertheim, co-CEO of the Executive Council of Australian Jewry, and Robert Goot, KC, Officer of the Order of Australia, Deputy President of the ECAJ, and Chair of the World Jewish Congress's Policy Council, somehow felt it worth their time, in the midst of a war against antisemitism which they are most certainly losing, for reasons which we explain in a whole separate video, they felt it was worth their time to take Mr. Haddad to court and make him famous. Keep that in mind as you watch this video. The language that Mr. Wertheim and Goot feel is unacceptable to hear from men like Mr. Haddad, and compare that to the language you shall hear from some other, one might say, more consequential Australians. But back to Tom Elliott, because whatever you think of Wissam Haddad, Tom Elliott somehow believed it was relevant to Nasser Mashni. Why would that be? Is Mr. Mashni a member of Mr. Haddad's congregation? Not that it matters, but is Mr. Mashni even Muslim? They didn't discuss religion in the interview, and I've never heard Mr. Mashni, whose mother is Christian and who was educated in a Catholic school, by the way, ever discuss his religion. Would Tom Elliott ask a random Catholic guest if he endorses this man's approach to childcare? Cardinal Pell, after all, is the highest-ranking Catholic in Australian history, and who was, at the end of his life, essentially the finance minister for the Vatican State. Cardinal Pell is not a nobody. A few weeks after that interview with Nasser Mashni, Tom Elliott interviewed Rabbi Daniel Rabbit of the Caulfield Hebrew congregation. Why didn't he ask him if he agreed with the views about black people expressed by Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef, the highest-ranking rabbinical authority in the Haredi tradition in the world? Like Cardinal Pell, but unlike Wissam Haddad, Rabbi Yosef is not a nobody. Does Tom Elliott agree with every colorful thing said by this man over the years? Legendary investor, businessman, sportsman, statesman, and Hawthorne personality, John Elliott, Tom Elliott's father. Again, like Cardinal Pell and Rabbi Yosef, but unlike Wissam Haddad, John Elliott is not a nobody. We at Neosis would love to have been a fly on the wall in the 3AW control room as that interview with Nasser Mashni came to a close.
All right, you've been doing great so far. Just some layup questions ahead, and let's bring this home.
Absolutely, Tom. You were hard, serious, and took no BS. Exactly what our audience loves about you, mate. Maybe let's finish off with something lighthearted. A personal question or a joke, just to set the right mood to leave with the audience. Tom? Did you hear that, Tom? Tom, can you roger that?
Yeah, yes. The answer's yes.
Tom, we're having trouble reading your expression. Can you roger that, please?
Yes. The only answer is yes.
Let's finish up with something lighthearted and nice.
There was a Sydney Islamic leader.
No way.
And his name escapes me at the moment.
What does he talk? What does he talk?
He describes Jewish people as the descendants of pigs and monkeys. Do you believe that?
Okay. A little weird. Don't know where that came from, Tom, but let's not panic, everyone. Let's just let the man answer the question, thank him for his frankness, and wrap it up.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yes, great. Okay, Tom, now just say something gracious to bring it in. Tom, something gracious.
Right. Well, he says it.
Fuck.
He says it. after asking him such a crazy question and then getting such a polite response. That's how the interview ends, with Tom Elliott, scion of one of Victoria's most eminent families, telling Nasser Mashni, in fact, telling every Muslim and Levantine Australian of whatever religion, don't bother even explaining yourself. We've got our story, and we're sticking with it.
I ain't done this, but has any of you actually ever read a book?
Now, my friends, if that's not deeply entrenched, institutionally accepted racism, what is it? Mr. Mashni's Palestinian identity is so toxic in this country that a single meeting with Penny Wong merited this slanderous condemnation from Sky News, who suggested he was somehow a Hamas terrorist.
Have a look exactly who Penny Wong has given credibility to by posing in photographs with him and meeting him in her office. It's the head of the Australian Palestine Advocacy Network, Nasser Mashni. Penny Wong, Australia's foreign minister, gives credibility to this despicable character.
An article about the Bibas children in The Australian was advertised with references to the, quote, gorillas of Gaza and, quote, black-hearted Arabs. There is no other group in Australia for whom such racist discourse is so deeply embedded in the conversation, and especially in elite conversation, that we don't even notice it. As Peter Beinart wrote years ago, it's like water for fish.
So far from all that we